This is Rogue Wing, Coraline, or Helen RD over at Starship Modeler. Welcome to the workshop. Quick progress report. The weather cooperated. As you can see, instead of a bunch of dark gray parts, I now have a bunch of very, very white parts. All in all, I'm very happy with what I've got so far. Waiting for my paint coats to cure up a little before I start the actual detail painting. Went in on this part and fixed some of the junction here, as well as smoothing out a couple of rough spots along the putty lines. But we're definitely getting there. I'm debating whether I'm going to paint these or decal them. I've got some decals off the net for doing the grills on these. But at this point I need to do detail paint and seal her up, seal them up I guess I should say, and decal them. I also need to figure out what I want to do display wise. Right now what I'm kind of leaning toward is setting them on the base something like this. You know, kind of passing the mirror, so to speak. It's going to take up a lot of shelf space, though. I have to see. Need to run over to my big box hobby shop or my local big box hardware store here and take a look what I can find in the way of a suitable base. But that's where we sit right now. I was looking over the ISS Enterprise nacelle, or Odysseus nacelle assembly, and decided I needed to do some serious seam work. I don't know how well these are showing up now, but I've gone in and wet sanded pretty much the whole nacelle seam to get a much smoother finish. Didn't look too bad in raw plastic, but once I got looking at it after the primer coat and the spray coat, it definitely needed to be done. So I'll probably do some more smoothing up, reprimer this, and then get another coat of paint on it. Alright, I don't know how well this is showing up, but I've cleaned up those seams and reprimered. To my eye at least, I don't know how well, like I said, it's showing up. The seams definitely look a lot better. Go ahead and get a coat of white on here. And we'll be ready to move to the next phase. Alright, just a quick little update. Decided that if you're putting Klingon engines on a Imperial or Federation ship, the Klingons are not going to repaint the engines. So I went ahead and left the engines in the primer gray, and then repainted the strut assembly in the white. At this point, I'll probably go in and do the engine glow bits, maybe some wash detail in the tail end of the engines, but they're just about ready. Okay, custom models usually mean custom decals. These were drawn up on my computer and printed onto clear decal sheet. To give you the markings for the main markings for the two ships. The Terran Empire banners from Star Trek Enterprise, which I may or may not use. Decals for the RCS thrusters and phaser banks. For the warp grills on the USS Odysseus. And additional markings actually taken from the original series Enterprise kit produced by Polar Lights. Basically, I mostly wanted to get the Terran Empire decals off that sheet so I have them to work with. Give me some spares to run with. Detail painting, day one. Alright, let's start with the pieces that are actually almost done on the detail painting side. Probably going to go in later with a light ink wash and bring out these panel lines in the top of the pod. These aren't paint, these are actually acrylic inks I was using instead of normal washes. I think I need to water them down just a little though, because I was hoping to get more contrast in there. But all in all, we're coming along nicely. Both pods are basically done at this point, or both strut assemblies I should say. I need to go in and touch up some of the overflow on the one nacelle. But all in all, I'm happy with how those are turning out. Instead of using the light blue that I used on the Federation ships, I went with a gray to help accent the hull color on the ISS Odysseus hull. Blue metallic with ink wash around it, and blue ink in the, I'm not sure what they refer to those as. Haven't done any work on the top yet, but I've also got the impulse engines at least painted in using red inks as well. Now on the USS version, I've gone ahead and picked out all the doors and stuff in the gray. Same treatment on the navigational deflector as on the ISS version. Only I've gone with the light blue to contrast against the white. And the only anywhere near upper stuff that's been done with upper hulls is on the impulse deck. That's probably all I'm going to get done today. Let it sit for a bit, see what I can do with those inks on the areas where the stuff's a little darker than I'd really like. Then I get the detail paint the tops, and then go pick out some of the other details that need to be done before I seal her up. Okay, quick update. Figured out that my best friend, when working with inks, is a beat to heck paintbrush and some water. Went in with the paintbrush, wet it down, and rubbed through the areas that were a little too monochromatic for my tastes, and got a little more contrast in the colors. Definitely a lot less monotone. The big key was on the navigational deflector, where I was able to blend it out a little better and able to clear out these areas so they looked a lot less like I just went in and painted them blue. Had more success actually with the ISS version, but I think that was mostly because the brush wasn't as saturated with water. But all in all, we're definitely making progress. Like I said before, figure I got another day working on getting the detail paint done. And then it'll be time to use those decals.